This is Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. An informal chats with top business moguls as they share their stories of failure and success in a fun and relaxed way. Get entertained, educated, and unlock the secrets to success.
Welcome to Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman. I am back with a very special guest, Rabbi Shaya Fox, who's the Chief Executive Officer of DATA. Tell us what DATA is again. Spell it out for me.
Dallas Area Torah Association. Thanks for having me. Great to be here. So Dallas Area Torah Association, in very short, is basically an organization that's here to inspire Jews to be more involved, growing, attaching themselves, taking their Judaism more seriously, taking their relationship with God more seriously, their observance, and no different than any other area of life. No, certainly no less, maybe more than mental health, physical health, business health, financial health is spiritual health. And I think that it's critical that every Jew is working on their spiritual health.
I know the last time we spoke in the program, a lot of insightful information about you and your experience in life. You spoke a lot about your family growing up in New York. You came from a family of 8 kids. You come from an Orthodox Jewish background. But you have a really unique position in your stage as the CEO of this organization, giving you entrepreneurial background, but you helping to guide and influence businesses. So I know some people are listening thinking, why do I have a rabbi on the program? But you're almost like a motivational speaker, a mentor, a person that business leaders can go to find their station in life. You know, some have built great businesses, some want to build great businesses, but they come to you for balance.
Sure. Absolutely. So let me expand on that a little bit.
Yes.
I started realizing as I was trying to build my network of people that I'm associated with, people that I could, to be frank, solicit for donations, is I wanted to get to know people, and everything is relationship. And I started meeting CEOs, Jewish and non-Jewish, and because everyone can help and everyone can be involved, and I could help everyone, even though our organizational focus is on Jews, but
right.
I associate with everyone. And started realizing is that there are many CEOs that the reason why they were so successful, at least a big part of it, is because they were hyper-focused on their business trajectory and their business growth.
Sure.
And other aspects of their life might have been somewhat neglected.
Right. Taking a back seat.
And what I realized was that maybe I could play a role, even though, again, I spoke about last time I met with you. I feel like, who am I to be giving these big CEOs, running multi-million dollar companies and with tens and tens or hundreds of employees? Who am I to be guiding them? And the answer is that they're very experienced in their area of expertise, but I, in my own way, have certain areas that I'm focused on, and I could give some insight and inspiration. So what I realized was that maybe these people need something. So I started asking around, and many said yes, many said no.
Right.
But many said yes. And
Sure.
I gathered together some of those people, and I needed one of them particularly to really give me that push and say, if it's just me and you, that's also a success. And that really helped me. And I was there, and we got together initially a group of 4 or 5, I don't remember. We went to a kosher restaurant. I only eat kosher.
Right.
So we went to a kosher restaurant for lunch, and we started this CEO business cohort.
Oh, wow.
Which I said, I named it Fulfilling Life Cohort.
Okay.
And basically the idea is that wealth and business success is not an end, it's a means to an end. Being comfortable can be very helpful for living a happy life, but is not a means to an end, because ultimately happiness comes from fulfillment, and it's much broader than just physical wealth. And that's something that every single person in that room resonated with them. One of them, someone by the name of Michael Levy, very prestigious business owner, he's the CEO of Crow Holdings. He's part of our network.
Right.
And, he basically said to me, it's really, really empty. And people when I tell that to people, he said it's empty. He's like what everyone looks up to as being like the ultimate success story.
Right.
And what he's realized in his later age, and I asked him permission if I could say this, not in this podcast, but in general, because I feel like we should use his story as inspiration for others.
Right.
And he talks openly about the fact that, business success is wonderful, but it's meaningless unless I'm helping people, unless I'm growing in my own spiritual life, family life. And so this network has just been an amazing, eye-opening experience for me.
So what's amazing, you've mentioned something that I've seen in my meetings with CEOs as well, especially those that have built great, great companies. They get to a point, and I think when they start that journey of building a great company, they're looking at the end thinking, this is what it should feel like. They build a big company. They get to that end where it's large and they're very successful, and they still feel a little empty. There's something missing within that journey. So you're absolutely right. And I think that expression and what you mentioned that he stated, they needed something more. They needed a different level of fulfillment. So it sounds like in connecting with you, that gives them that part that they've been missing. What's fascinating to me as well is in the last show, you mentioned that your father had a similar journey. He built a great medical practice and then needed to step back and realize that he needed to spend more time with the family because he needed that balance.
It's funny. I never actually put those two things together.
Yeah.
That's fascinating that you mentioned that. But yeah, to a certain degree, there's a lot of similarities there.
Right. And so you're helping CEOs, leaders figure that out.
Podcasts are so popular, even monkeys are doing it.
75% of Americans listen to podcasts monthly. That's 210 million people in the United States alone. And yes, podcasts are profitable. Joe Rogan is making $30 million per year. Your content, your knowledge is worth sharing. Don't just dream it, do it. Visit andycostafilms.com/podcast and turn your content into leads.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Many of them have. Many of them it's through life-altering experiences. Many times it's sad experiences, whether it's divorce, whether it's death of a parent that like resets their like value system.
Right.
And like, what is important to me? Life doesn't last forever. What, what's my legacy? Is my legacy that I built a successful business? Is that what I want my legacy to be? Or do I want my legacy to be, what did I accomplish for the Jewish people? How did I help other people be successful? And yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And and the incredible thing is, and this is not typical for a rabbi, but we have a mix. We have a mix of Jews and non-Jews.
Okay.
And it's interesting. And there are people who have given me flack for it. Like, why are you focusing on non-Jews? That's not your, and and the answer is, I feel like it's a wonderful camaraderie, and it's people that are aligned. I wouldn't take anyone in. I vet people before they come in.
Sure.
And I make sure that it doesn't take away from each other.
Right.
And we discuss God, and you could translate that how you'd like. And we discuss, but mostly things like growth, avoiding narcissistic tendencies, because as a person grows and becomes more successful, they could get filled with pride and
temptation,
too much, temptation, and the constant reminders. We meet once a month for lunch, and we have these discussions, and I print out sheets with summary of the topic, and we have a texting group where we go back and forth. So there's constant reminders, and sometimes I remind everyone it matters so much less what exactly we're discussing, and so much more so the fact that we are discussing something that's about values, and that's about what's important in life, refocusing ourselves.
Well, interestingly enough, I was a certified trainer in the Stephen Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And there is a habit that speaks about sharpening the saw, reconnecting, having that other fulfillment, whether spiritual or otherwise, but the ability to keep connected and to really understand your values and what made you who you are. And It sounds like that's what you're doing. And that's a business set of principles. But having that ability to reconnect, whether again it's faith or even exercise, can help us with that journey. You're doing that habit for our CEOs, and you didn't realize that you were helping them on this business journey.
Nope, I did not. And it was never my intention, but I do think that it'll definitely help them in overall life fulfillment and happiness.
Right. Now, from a cultural standpoint, help me and others understand what is a rabbi? What does it mean to become a rabbi? What does kosher mean? Why is that important? What does orthodox mean versus non-orthodox? Help us understand some of those elements.
It reminds me of a story that in the Talmud, there was a little bit of a weird guy that came over to one of the chief rabbis and asked him, teach me the whole Torah on 1 foot. And it sounds like you're asking me, like with the last 10 minutes of our podcast, teach me everything about Judaism.
You have to summarize 30 years from your perspective and thousands of years into a few minutes.
So there's a lot here. Very quickly, a rabbi just means teacher in Hebrew.
Right.
And that's really all it is. There are many rabbis. Most rabbis have an official document, which means that there was another rabbi that officially gave them the title. But inherently, if you're a teacher to other people, then you're a rabbi. And that's all it means. So that's pretty much that. Kosher means, in the Bible, Old Testament itself, it states certain laws, and then many of those laws are expanded. What you can or can't eat are expanded in the oral law, in the Talmud, in the Mishnah. And we, as Orthodox people, keep to the strict letter of the law, to what was always done for thousands of years, and that's what we as Orthodox people, keep by, not eating milk and meat together,
right?
Not eating certain animals. Only even animals that we do eat have to be slaughtered in a certain way. There's a lot of details in the law, and that's where kosher certification comes from.
Right.
You'll notice on many products there's an OU or OK or many other symbols for that are giving it the approval that there are rabbis or certification agencies that give their stamp of approval that this has been watched over to make sure that it's kosher and nothing else was mixed in, or it's a kosher product.
Right. And that's such a big deal. I live in an area where the grocery store has large kosher products, and that's such an important thing.
Sure.
Right, within the community, Orthodox, non-Orthodox. Talk to us
so
about
many so non-Orthodox have a different set of laws that they keep by, which are more lenient, and everyone has different sort of set that they keep by or don't keep by, depending on who they are. It varies from nothing to other variations of the law,
right,
I would say.
And so this has been extremely insightful for me. Like I'm hoping that the listeners enjoying just learning, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish. So last in that kind of realm, the difference between Saturday and Sunday for someone in the Jewish faith.
Sure. So within the Jewish circles, our Saturday is what many Christians would consider Sunday.
Right.
But we have many more laws.
Right.
And the Orthodox keep to them. We don't drive. We turn off our phones. We're completely disconnected. And it's a lot of family time, a lot of time in synagogue, a lot of eating time, and a lot of just relaxation. It's the word Shabbat, which is Saturday in Hebrew, means rest. It's a day of rest. It's a day of reconnection to, like we said before, the values. Is the 6 days a week you're running like a chicken without a head, and then there's one day that you put your head back on, you're able to refocus yourself.
Right. And
there have been non-Jews who have taken on this habit of shutting off their phones from the Orthodox.
Right.
From the Orthodox, there's this conservative host, Charlie Kirk, who took on this habit. He learned it from his friend, who's someone who's Jewish, and he took it on this habit of shuts off his phone for 24 hours on Saturday.
Right. I think sometimes we all need to take that break and reconnect.
Sure.
And here growing up, Sunday was absolutely our day for family and for eating and for really taking a moment to prepare for the next week and recover and relax and that quality time. So I appreciate it enormously. Can you walk us through and I won't have you walk us through the history per se, but I think there's so many people that might not understand really what Hanukkah represents. I'd love for you just to give us a lesson. So in 2025, Hanukkah is from Sunday, December 14th through Monday, December 22nd. But walk us through what it represents for the community.
Sure. So the Jewish people throughout history had different times that they were persecuted. Here we had a situation of where they were being persecuted by the Romans, and they basically had to stand up for their values and to be able to keep to their religion. Mm-hmm. And more or less the story was that they stood up for themselves, and the Hasmoneans, they had to fight for it both physically and spiritually, and just to really hold on to their values, their studies. And we celebrate the fact that they won the battle to be able to hold on to their values and their religion, and keeping the freedom to practice the way that they wanted to practice their religion. I think there's a lesson definitely for today, which is the importance of religion, the importance whether you're Jewish, Christian, or anything else. Values cannot be compromised on. I'll go to business events, and while everyone else is enjoying their pork or their food and their non-kosher food, I'll be sitting there, and so I think values, standing up for things that you believe in and that are important to you, and religion, the importance of religion in a person's life, I think is all lessons that can be culled from the Hanukkah story. And lighting the candles, that we have to be a light unto others. And if you have light, then that means you have something that you can share and help others with as well. That's a message that can be culled from the lighting of the candelabra, the menorah.
Can you talk us more about that, by the way?
Sure. Yeah. So what happened was in this story of Hanukkah, from well over 1,000 years ago, they had the temple was ransacked.
Yes.
And when they came back, the Jews came back to the temple after they won. They found that everything was ruined, except that they found one small jug of oil, and miraculously, it lasted for 8 days.
Okay.
And we celebrate that miracle because we feel like that represented God in our time of we won, but there was still a lot of difficulties ahead, and it was ransacked, and the Jewish people were in a bad place at the time. It showed God was, I'm still here with you.
Right.
And it's light in a dark place. So we all go through dark times, and sometimes God shows us that jug.
Right.
And that we need to hold on to that. And for generations to come, we still remember that. So we have to constantly be reminding ourselves that the light is still there. Even when it's dark, God's with you. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. And take that light and share it with others.
Right.
Whatever your experiences are in life, you have something to share, and someone else needs your help.
So for our business leaders, whether they're in Dallas or maybe even further than Dallas, why should they come and be a part of your roundtable? And I ask it that way, whether they come or not, but what is the value? We've discussed some of the basic principles that you have, but there's so many wonderful business leaders that are looking for peace. And as you mentioned, they're looking for their place in this world, right? But why be a part of yours specifically? There's so many different groups that they can go to and try to learn that value set and their legacy, but what makes yours special?
So I will say it like this, is that I'm not looking to sell my program.
You're not.
Honestly, it's not even my main thing.
Well, what's funny though is, and not to interrupt your thought, but it's like, and I know you're not selling it at all. There are plenty of places they can go and pay money, but there's such a connection, it seems, from people participating in your program that you've given them a safe place to be, to have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And so
that's really it. Ours is quite simplistic. And I would encourage others to do it as well, whether you're a rabbi or whether you're a Christian leader. Just do it for your own group. I encourage people to join a group. It doesn't have to be mine. Ours is special just because of the people that are around the table, and that everyone is making themselves vulnerable. People that they can relate to, people that can relate to each other and different circumstances. Be there for each other. Talk about growth. The camaraderie. It's wonderful. I always say that friendships are not built on people that you have drinks with. It's people that you have realness with.
Right.
Yeah, you're building something real together. You're aligned and you're helping each other in a real way, not just in a superficial way.
Right.
So that's where real friendship is built, and real friendship is another key to success. So I would encourage people not necessarily to join mine, but to join one.
Right.
Form your own, do something.
Right.
Although I'm not discouraging it either. I'm open to it as well. And my contact is available. My contact information is available on our website. And reach out. Happy to meet. Happy to connect.
And Rabbi, I don't want you to dismiss too much on the value. And here's why I asked the question.
Sorry. I don't like to avoid questions.
I know. No,
Okay.
here's what's cool though. I've been to a lot of business groups, business meetings, business forums. Some you pay to go to, but I can say that I feel that much more whole when I go to a Bible study session with other like-minded people, oftentimes business people. When I lived in California, I was a part of the Saddleback Church flag football. Every Saturday, we gathered in the morning, 8:00. There were about 50 of us on a day all year long, and we would just gather. It was wholesome. We just played flag football, fellowship, had a good time. And that connection, as you mentioned, was just huge. Like it gave me a moment just to relax and participate with other like-minded people. Some were business leaders, some were not. But what you're offering is just a great, safe place to connect with people that share a common purpose.
Sure. And as a facilitator, as someone who spends more time than others in this area and studying it myself and my own self-improvement, you can't inspire others unless you're doing it yourself.
Right. You have to live
it. So you can't, talk from two ends of your mouth. You have to be living it. And I really try to be growing myself, and I have my own set of challenges, and as does everyone. I think everyone should hear that and know that just because someone is in the spiritual world, a rabbi or any other pastor, or have their set of challenges, and they should be respected for overcoming them, and they should be expected to be overcoming them.
Sure.
and living and practicing what they preach.
So I want you to indulge me for the last few minutes we have in the program. So we're Business Decoded, focused on the business leader. I often ask my guests what Business Decoded tips would they provide to the business leader listening to the program. But here's what I'll ask you. I'd love to have you give your Business Decoded tips as if you were having one of those sessions and councils with the CEOs of these organizations. What if you had this group of 10 CEOs listening to this audience in your room with you now, what would you leave them with today? What kind of inspiration? What would you tell them to help them map out their next journey in life as a leader, business leader, as a community leader? What would you tell that group?
Good question. I would tell them, I'm going to say something extreme in order to elicit a response, but that's what today's world is, right?
Right.
I'm not really saying it that way. Sure. I really believe this, and my rabbi taught me this tool. A way of focusing your attention on what's important and not getting caught up in all the distractions and all the things that are vying for your attention, your energy, is write your own tombstone. Write your own eulogy.
Right.
And I hope, and I'm pretty sure that they won't say on there how many millions of dollars you are worth. And even the richest people, I doubt at their eulogy or on their tombstone, they write, this guy was worth $1 billion.
Right.
It's not true. He helped people. He gave people jobs. He was an inspiration. He was a godly person. Despite his wealth, he wasn't arrogant.
Right.
So it's only a tool. And that's what I would say is that, and that's the every single time we meet, that's really the mission. The mission is, let's refocus on a value. And we try to focus in on one specific one, but each one helps with the other and they all build off each other. The idea is that you're in a zone of what matters. And money is important, very important. You could do so much good with money.
Right.
But if you're not a valued person, you'll make a lot of money and do a lot of stupid things with the money rather than thinking about what can I do? Why did God bless me with this?
Right.
What does he want me to do with this? Is it extra cars? Is it extra homes? Is it showing it off? What was it for? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. And then create a plan of how you're going to, over the next blank years, write the eulogy that you want to be said on that day, whenever that day is, whenever God calls your name.
Right.
You have written the legacy and the tombstone that you want to have and for forever.
Right. So have you written your eulogy?
I have.
You have? I won't ask you specifically, but give us a sense for what you would like people to remember you for.
That's a great question. Sincerity and truth. And those are, I view them as an extension of each other. I don't view myself as the most talented person, but surely not the smartest person. I'm really not. I'm not being humble or untruthful. I'm being very truthful. I'm not. And even in terms of connecting with people, I am not the coolest guy in the room. I'm not the funnest guy to hang out with. Okay, let's just,
Sure.
I'm just put all my cards on the table.
Right.
Say it the way it is. I'm not. What attracts people to me is what makes me attractive to other people in for business and for my job is that sincerity, is that there's so much in today's world which breeds insincerity, fakeness, putting on a show to impress other people rather than just being yourself, being who you are, being a valued person. And that to me is my advice. That's what I would want others to be able to say about me, is how sincere and truthful of a person. You don't do what's convenient. You don't do what's easy. You do what's right.
Right. Right. If you encountered a CEO that you met now, I appreciate those tips, by the way. If you encountered one of these CEOs that is now coming to you for the first time to ask you for guidance, and you were going to give them a set of ideas for how they can reset and start over tomorrow, like they need your help. How do I level set today and restart this journey tomorrow? What's in the past is the past, whether good or bad. But I'm ready to follow your lead and your path as a CEO. How would you guide them on resetting? Like, how would you help them to reshape their perspective so that they can now live a life with a different kind of purpose and helping to prepare for their eulogy?
Yeah. Right. I'm sorry that
like
analogy
like
of
it.
eulogy is morbid, but I think it really helps refocus.
It does.
And there's many versions of that same idea.
And that's why your word that you just used, refocus. So
Yeah.
that's the whole premise of the question. Like, if I had to start over tomorrow and refocus,
So I think the success for refocusing is having a group of people. You are who your friends are for the most part, and who you surround yourself with. And in many situations, you can choose those people strategically, and you have to. We have all of limited time, limited energy, and we all have, other responsibilities outside of friendship and business. And so when you're spending time with friends and you're choosing who you want to hang out with and who you eat lunch with and so on and so forth, choose strategically people that are ahead of you or equal with you in the sense that are aligned with you in terms of where you'd like to get to.
Right.
And then grow together and hold each other accountable. And just by hanging out with each other, it'll happen. But just having friendly conversations with them, that'll be a huge part of helping you refocus and keep you and keep you focused, because you can easily get distracted. You'll have a burst of inspiration. It's like January 1st, your New Year's resolution, and then January 10th, it'll start petering, and then by February 1, you'll be like, oh well, for next January, you just lost 11 months.
Right.
So I think the key is to have a good group of people, or at least one friend of someone that's going to hold you accountable and be with you in your journey of being focused on values and God. And I think keeping God in America is critical, critical. Keeping us focused on what's important, and there's something much bigger out there than any one person's personal life and their own personal financial journey or family journey or anything. There's a big world out there, and there's a God, and we've got to keep that as our focus.
Great advice. And what's fascinating is that from business people that I've learned from, mentors, they say something similar. So they're not faith-based, they're not a rabbi, but what they've learned in business is very similar. Surround yourself with like-minded people and use them to help get through this journey, because sometimes you can kind of go astray. Sure. Even in business, you can lose kind of a focus on what your business objective is, and you need someone to keep you honest and keep you focused, someone that you can go to lean on for ideas and feedback on that journey.
And accountability. So, yeah, and I think that it's applying the same idea, but to something else, which is not necessarily for your business journey, but more for your life journey.
Exactly.
Your fulfillment, your purpose.
Absolutely.
Your values. So, and I think it's, there's so many distractions and there's so many things that are actively trying to pull you. The natural trajectory is going to be away from those values, because that's where most of the world is. And unless you're making a concerted effort, it won't happen.
Right. Rabbi, thank you for joining us on this second podcast. It's been a delight to hear your guidance as people walk that journey that you just described.
This is awesome. And I appreciate the fact that you were willing to do something a little out of the box by having a rabbi who is a non-for-profit, but it can also be viewed as a business. It's a business.
Absolutely.
It's sale. People ask me what I do. I'm in sales for spirituality.
Right.
That's it.
I love it. Sales for
so
spirituality.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you again.
All right. Pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on Business Decoded with Ronnie Spellman.
Thank you for listening to Business Decoded podcast with Ronnie Spellman. Please be sure to subscribe and share, and stay tuned for more incredible Business Decoded episodes.